Thousands of Australian actors and musicians have said they want to wear Palestinian scarves in upcoming performances this Tuesday in an escalation of the now infamous Sydney Theatre Company protest. Now, an open letter to Anthony Albanese signed by 3,200 artists encourages everyone to, and I quote, wear your keffiyeh, lapel pin or Palestinian solidarity shirt to wherever you work. And then their letter ends with the charming sign-off, from the river to the sea, always was, always will be, which seems to be conflating two issues there. Kel, let me ask you this. Why, after all the uproar, re the Sydney Theatre Company, do now 3,000 and more artists feel emboldened to continue this anti-Semitism?
OK, I'll let you in on a little secret. Actors are not clever people, right? They actually say words other people have written for them. I remember going to a Christmas party at 2GB one year, and there's a very famous, very distinguished English actor there who will remain unnamed. And I had a long conversation with him, and I realised he was really, when he wasn't speaking the words written for him, he was thick. I mean, he really was thick. Actors are not the people who should be making political announcements, and if they want to make political statements, let them write letters to the editor or let them run for Parliament. When they're on stage, their job is to give a performance. The real problem is anti-Semitism, Jew hatred is a moral cancer eating away at the soul of Australia. It is extremely dangerous. It's extremely wicked. It's very evil. The people who are saying they're pro-Palestine are saying they're pro-war crimes. There are 168 hostages still being held. I want one of these actors to get up and say, release the hostages. Yeah. They won't do that because they are morally bankrupt, empty people who won't talk about the hostages. There's still lots of women there. There are elderly people there, even though most of the children are now out. When the hostages are still there, you don't turn around and say we should have a ceasefire, we should wipe out Israel and have Palestine run from the river to the sea, which is what they're saying, which is a genocidal statement. It is morally absolutely evil, but the actors are too stupid to realise how morally repugnant they are being. If you're in the acting profession, I'm sorry, if you're taking part in this, you're a disgusting human being.
And what message does it send to the Jewish community, to people who genuinely want to go to the theatre? You go to the theatre as an escapism.
Yes,
you go for entertainment. You go to enjoy yourself. What message does this send to them? And I would ask these actors, these performers, where is the condemnation of Hamas? Where is the condemnation for the atrocities that occurred on October 7? Mm-hmm. The answer has to be release these hostages, keep your politics off the stage, do your job as an entertainer and get on with it.
But you get this everywhere. You can't enjoy anything in life. You can't go to the football without having to be welcome to your own country that you live in. You can't literally do anything. Every single thing of enjoyment seems to be squandered and taken away from you. So it doesn't surprise me, but I'm actually going to throw a different opinion in here. I don't care if they do it, to be honest, because I think that they have a right to. If that's what they want to do, I'm not going to buy tickets to go there. That's capitalism, and that's a country we live in. And I think that I have a problem when somebody says one innocent life is more valuable than the other innocent life. I don't think somebody's blood is more valuable if they're born in Israel, and I don't think someone's blood is more valuable if they're born in Palestine. I have war fatigue. I'm sick of tit for tat. I don't know about anybody else, but I think anti-Semitism is bad. I also think, saying that all Palestinians are Hamas is bad.
I think that the problem with what they're doing is from the river to the sea, which is how they sign off their letter, is a call to eliminate the Jewish...
But they don't even know what they're saying.
But they don't know. What I want to say...
They know what they're saying.
Not the university students who have been indoctrinated since 5.
To be honest, there are so many people who have been left with red faces in the wake of this debate already, who clearly have no idea about the history of the place, who clearly have no idea about what they're talking about, and are just jumping on the bandwagon because Palestine is the cause du jour at the moment. I agree. I think a lot of them would have no idea. They think, it just sounds nice, Palestine from the river to the sea. So they would just say it, not realising, of course, that if you look at a map and you go from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, that's all of Israel.
People who understand what it means and say it, that's right.
Surely if you've been paying any attention to the discussion over the last
don't pay
They only hear what people around them say.
They don't even read the news. They're on TikTok all day trying to get views.
What I want to see is the Google analytics of how many people looked up the word kefir after that statement.
It's appropriation. Come on.
What's that stuff?
They're also asking for audience members, I think it is next Tuesday,
I can't wait.
to do the same.
I can't wait.
They're turning the theatre into an anti-Israel rally.
Correct. And again, this goes to my point earlier. What message are we sending to the Jewish community? It's terrible.
But worse than that, and I want to get your view on this, Joe, because they sign off their letter from the river to the sea. Always will be, always was, always will be. So they're conflating the Palestinian issue with the Indigenous Australian
I have no
issue.
idea.
That's dangerous,
I had no idea that likening Indigenous Australians to Hamas was such a great election-winning idea until I saw them roll it out in the last week before the Voice campaign, and I just thought, God,
James,
I thought it was dead. I thought it was dead already.
We said the Indigenous people to that area are Jews.
Correct.
They've been there for 3.5
Again, these people
years.
have no idea, but the idea that you could compare, and Marsha Langton, who I've obviously had plenty of differences with over the years, but was absolutely bang on when she said this is a ridiculous equivocation. It is a false equivalency, and anyone who makes it clearly knows nothing about Indigenous issues. And again, I don't want to share Kel's unkind words about actors, however true they may be. But again, this is just people jumping on a trendy bandwagon, and
most social justice causes.
And I cannot wait for them to do this. Watch what happens. Watch how the Sydney Theatre Company just.
But this is how
spoils
movement
itself. Watch how all its patrons.
Well, they've already lost.
Turns out they're taking a lot of money from the Jews who they want to wipe out.
The Sydney Theatre Company also apologised for when those two actors came out. Only after the condemnation.
No, only after. This is the thing. They said, "Oh no, we support freedom of expression. It's an artistic right." Oh, we're going to start pulling our money.
Yeah, because they know that they're going to lose money out of it. They know that they're going to lose money.
That's right. They're going to lose money.
It was a response based on the condemnation. That
they also had board members resign.
Yes.
Well, they had to resign. Because they're the face of it.
Yeah.
Tell me, am I over-egging this with the whole combining it with Indigenous stuff, right? So basically they're excusing the violence of Hamas because, well, it's justified.
But have they excused it?
No. Are they not running the danger of inciting violence here by conflating the two issues?
Yes, and I'll tell you what it is. Lionel Shriver, the great novelist, calls it set menu politics. If you sign up to belong to, you want to belong to this particular group, the hard left, which is who they are, you take on the set menu. And if the hard left says, here's the menu, you have to tick off, we're in favour of Palestinians, tick off, we're in favour of Indigenous, tick off this, tick off. You've got to buy this, you've got to take the set menu. That's what you get. And that's what the left is delivering, is set menu.
But it's also because they don't understand anything that isn't a really basic black and white binary, and they see Israel, and this is the whole problem, and this is why it's so trendy, right? In a post-colonial world where you don't have, they've got to get their gun off somehow, right? The civil rights movement, that was done and dusted in the 60s in America, and so now they've got to resurrect it with Black Lives Matter every time. And they see Israel as a neo-colonial power oppressing an Indigenous population, and they have they can't get their head around anything more complex than that. And so they think, the Israelis are the whites, the Palestinians are the black, Israelis bad, Palestinians good. That's all there is to it.
So on that, let's go to